What if the Bible you know is missing crucial details about creation and divine laws? The Book of Jubilees, an ancient text preserved in the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, was banned from mainstream Christianity. It claims to reveal God's hidden plan and a cosmic perspective on biblical history. In this journey, we will explore the 50 chapters of Jubilees and uncover why it was excluded from the canon. This text holds lost details about Genesis, the role of angels, and the structure of heavenly time. It even insists that the calendar most follow is wrong, challenging us to realign with divine order, raising the stakes for our understanding of faith and time itself. If you're curious about these forbidden truths, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Together, we will delve deep into the mysteries of this banned book, uncovering insights that could reshape your perspective on the divine narrative. Preserved within the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, the Book of Jubilees, also known as Little Genesis, offers a retelling of biblical events from creation to the giving of the law. Its origins trace back to ancient Jewish traditions, providing a unique lens through which to view the patriarchs, divine laws, and cosmic order, setting it apart from the mainstream biblical narrative. Why was this profound text rejected by the early church? Internal conflicts over canonical authority led to its suppression, as its revelations about angels, sacred time, and pre-Mosaic laws challenged established doctrines. What controversial secrets did it contain that were deemed too dangerous for widespread acceptance? While Genesis outlines the six-day creation of the world, the Book of Jubilees unveils a profound addition. At the very inception, God established the architecture of time itself. This wasn't merely about forming life. It was about instilling a cosmic order where every moment aligns with divine will. On the first day, angels were brought into existence and entrusted with specific roles, some to govern natural phenomena, others to regulate the celestial cycles. These heavenly beings ensure that the universe operates in perfect harmony, a revelation that challenges mainstream beliefs about the simplicity of creation and hints at a deeper, more intricate divine plan. Jubilees reveals a sacred solar calendar comprising exactly 364 days, meticulously divided into 4 seasons of 91 days each. This divine timekeeping system guarantees that Sabbaths and festivals always occur on their ordained dates, preserving spiritual alignment. In stark contrast, the lunar calendar, followed by many ancient societies, introduces irregularities, causing sacred observances to drift and fostering what Jubilees condemns as spiritual disorder. The text urgently warns that abandoning this perfect solar structure is not just an error, but an act of disobedience, directly challenging the timekeeping methods embraced by most of the world today. In Jubilees, the Sabbath transcends a mere day of rest. It is an eternal cosmic principle sanctified by God for all creation. From the dawn of time, the seventh day was set apart as a perpetual law, observed universally by angels and humans alike. This sacred rest intertwines with larger Jubilee cycles, 49-year periods designed to restore balance to the land and people. Disregarding these divinely ordained rhythms leads to chaos, foreshadowing the turmoil that arises when humanity falls out of sync with God's eternal order. Jubilees expands Adam's narrative by revealing that he received divine commandments through angelic mediators long before the era of Moses. These laws encompassed Sabbath observance, purity rites, and worship practices, establishing a framework for righteous living from humanity's earliest days. Angels instructed Adam in these eternal ordinances, emphasizing that God's laws were not introduced later but formed part of the cosmic blueprint from creation. How do these pre-Mosaic commandments compare to those given at Sinai? This question invites deeper curiosity about the continuity of divine law. Jubilees portrays Cain's murder of Abel as a catastrophic violation of divine law, unleashing moral decay with far-reaching consequences. This act breached the covenant, yet the righteous lineage persevered through Seth, who diligently upheld God's commandments. Seth's faithfulness ensured the preservation of holiness, setting a foundation for future generations. This early transgression not only highlights the gravity of sin, but also foreshadows impending judgments, such as the Great Flood, linking humanity's initial fall to the ongoing need for redemption and alignment with God's will. In the Book of Jubilees, the creation narrative expands beyond Genesis, revealing that on the very first day, God brought forth angelic beings to govern the cosmos. These celestial entities were assigned specific duties, overseeing the movements of stars, regulating seasons, and maintaining the divine structure of time itself. As Jubilees 2:2 states, He created the angels of the presence to rule over the creation. This angelic hierarchy ensured that natural phenomena, from the rising sun to the shifting tides, operated in perfect harmony with God's eternal plan. Yet this cosmic order was designed to include humanity, with angels serving as mediators between the divine and earthly realms. But what happens when humans deviate from this celestial blueprint? The stage is set for disruption, foreshadowing the conflicts that arise when alignment with angelic governance is lost. Beyond the serene order of creation, Jubilees unveils a hidden spiritual warfare, where forces of evil actively challenge divine righteousness. Enter Mastema, a malevolent entity often equated with Satan, who seeks to undermine humanity's faithfulness through temptation and trials. This cosmic adversary tests the righteous, as seen in future narratives like Abraham's binding of Isaac, where Mastema provokes God to assess unwavering devotion. The book warns of this ongoing struggle, where light and darkness clash over human souls. How does this eternal battle shape the destinies of biblical figures, and what role does it play in the grand tapestry of redemption? The answer lies in the unfolding drama between obedience and rebellion. Jubilees insists that the solar calendar, comprising 364 days, divided into 52 perfect weeks and 4 seasons of 91 days each, is the only true alignment with God's cosmic rhythm. This system ensures sacred days like the Sabbath always fall on their ordained dates, fostering spiritual harmony. In stark contrast, the lunar calendar introduces irregularities, causing festivals to drift and inviting spiritual disorder. As Jubilees 637 cautions, those who observe the moon disturb the seasons and make an abominable day. This deviation isn't merely a chronological error, it represents a breach of divine law, leading humanity away from sacred time. Could the widespread adoption of lunar-based calendars today be fueling a deeper disconnect from God's intended order? Remarkably, the sacred solar calendar described in Jubilees finds a living echo in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which follows a 13-month system with 12 months of 30 days and an additional month of Pagum. This structure mirrors Jubilees' 364-day framework, suggesting a preservation of ancient divine timekeeping lost to much of the world. The Ethiopian practice stands as a testament to the endurance of these hidden truths, offering a tangible link to the cosmic principles upheld in Jubilees. Does this modern-day adherence reveal a continuous thread of sacred knowledge, carefully guarded through millennia? At the heart of Jubilees' temporal framework lies the Sabbath, sanctified as an eternal sign of holiness for all creation, angels and humans alike. This day of rest is not merely a weekly pause, but a cosmic principle that anchors the larger Jubilee cycles of 49 years, which bring renewal to land, people, and the spiritual realm. As Jubilees 2:1 affirms, God blessed and sanctified the seventh day as a perpetual covenant. These cycles of release and restoration foreshadow end times prophecies, where divine time culminates in ultimate redemption. How might observing these sacred rhythms today prepare humanity for the coming Messianic era? Before the Great Flood, the earth descended into a state of profound moral decay, a chaos vividly detailed in the Book of Jubilees. While Genesis briefly mentions the Nephilim, the offspring of fallen angels and human women, Jubilees unveils their catastrophic role in corrupting the natural order. These giants introduced forbidden knowledge and rampant violence, leading to a world where lawlessness increased on the earth and all flesh corrupted its way, and they began to devour each other. Jubilees 5:2. This wasn't merely human sin. It was a cosmic rebellion, with fallen angels distorting God's design and inviting divine judgment. The stakes are hauntingly relevant today, as Jubilees warns that such spiritual corruption echoes through ages, urging reflection on modern moral boundaries. After the floodwaters receded, God established a new covenant with Noah. But Jubilees reveals it was far more than a promise. It was a restoration of eternal laws. Noah wasn't just saved from destruction. He was entrusted with the same divine commandments given to Adam, including Sabbath observance, sacrificial rites, and purity laws. Jubilees emphasizes that these ordinances were inscribed on the heavenly tablets long before Moses, framing Noah's covenant as a foundational moment in the continuity of God's cosmic order. As Noah offered sacrifices in gratitude, he embodied a lineage of righteousness that would prefigure the Mosaic law, leaving us to wonder, how do these ancient statutes shape our understanding of biblical covenants today? The flood was not merely a punishment. In Jubilees, it is portrayed as a cosmic reset, aligning the world with God's divine order once more. This cataclysmic event cleansed the earth of the corruption spawned by the Nephilim and fallen angels, yet it also underscored God's mercy in preserving the righteous line through Noah. The ark symbolized not just survival, but the safeguarding of a sacred legacy, ensuring that the laws and covenant would endure. Through this redemptive act, Jubilees illustrates how divine justice and mercy intertwine, offering a profound lesson on the consequences of straying from celestial harmony. From the ashes of the flood, a righteous lineage emerged, tracing from Seth through Noah to Abraham, as Jubilees meticulously documents. This genealogical bridge highlights how God's laws and covenant were preserved across generations, even as idolatry began to seep back into human societies. The gradual spread of pagan practices set the stage for a new era of spiritual conflict, foreshadowing the rise of a figure who would defy the encroaching darkness. This historical thread not only connects the patriarchal narratives, but also reinforces the enduring importance of faithfulness in a world teetering between devotion and rebellion. In a dramatic departure from Genesis, Jubilees unveils Abraham's youth as a revolutionary stand against idolatry. Growing up in a household steeped in pagan worship, Abraham boldly confronted his father's false gods, destroying the stone images and fleeing into the wilderness to embrace the one true God. This act of spiritual defiance, described in Jubilees 11:16-17, reframes Abraham not just as an obedient patriarch, but as a courageous reformer who rejected the corruption of his time. By challenging traditional narratives, Jubilees ignites a conflict between emerging monotheism and entrenched paganism, setting the stage for the cosmic covenants to come. While Genesis portrays Abraham as a man of faith, the Book of Jubilees reveals a profound addition. Abraham was taught divine laws by angels long before Moses. According to Jubilees, angels of the presence delivered commandments on Sabbath, observance, purity, and worship directly to Abraham, framing these not as new revelations but as eternal ordinances inscribed on the heavenly tablets from the foundation of the world. And he was taught by the angels concerning the things written in the tablets of heaven. Jubilees 12:25 declares, "This positions Abraham not merely as a faithful patriarch, but as a keeper of cosmic laws that predate the Mosaic covenant." How do these ancient commandments compare to the laws given at Sinai? The answer lies in the continuity of God's divine order. In Genesis, circumcision is a sign of the covenant between God and Abraham, but Jubilees elevates it to a cosmic law etched into the heavenly tablets at creation. This wasn't just a symbolic act. It was an eternal decree binding all generations, ensuring alignment with the divine rhythm of the universe. Jubilees 15:25 states, "This law is for all the generations forever, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets." Unlike Genesis, which focuses on Abraham's obedience, Jubilees presents circumcision as a spiritual warfare tool, a physical mark that defends against the forces of darkness. What deeper battles does this ritual signify in the cosmic struggle between holiness and rebellion? The binding of Isaac, a test of Abraham's faith in Genesis, transforms in Jubilees into a cosmic showdown. Here, Mastema, the chief of evil spirits, proposes the sacrifice to God, hoping to undermine Abraham's righteousness. But as Abraham raises the knife, an angel intervenes, revealing that this was a divine test to prove faithfulness over temptation. I stood before him and before the prince of the Mastema, Jubilees 18:10 recounts, highlighting the angelic role in thwarting evil. This narrative reframes the event as a victory in the eternal battle between good and evil, where Abraham's unwavering trust defeats the schemes of darkness. How does this spiritual warfare perspective reshape our understanding of obedience? Jubilees expands on the prophecy given to Rebekah, emphasizing that the rivalry between Jacob and Esau was predestined on the heavenly tablets. Before their birth, God revealed that, quote, "The older shall serve the younger," casting Esau's line as a nation of rebellion against a divine order. While Genesis notes their struggle, Jubilees deepens it into a cosmic design. Esau represents enduring opposition to Israel, fulfilling a prophecy that spans generations. This foreknowledge underscores that human actions align with a pre-written divine plan, where Jacob's election was sealed from the womb. What does this say about the ongoing conflict between righteousness and defiance throughout history? Jacob's receipt of the birthright and blessing in Jubilees is more than familial inheritance. It's a transfer of cosmic responsibility. Angels and God impart the eternal laws to Jacob, laws already inscribed on the heavenly tablets, appointing him as custodian for the future 12 tribes. In visions like the latter dream, Jacob is entrusted with upholding Sabbath observance, festivals, and moral codes, linking his lineage to the divine governance of Israel. Jubilees 27-23 echoes this, showing Jacob as a pivotal figure in the propagation of God's commandments. How will these laws shape the destiny of the tribes, and what role do they play in the unfolding cosmic narrative? In the Book of Jubilees, the births of Jacob's 12 sons are not mere biological events, but divinely orchestrated moments aligned with the sacred solar calendar. Each son, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin, entered the world at times predetermined on the heavenly tablets, ensuring their destinies were woven into God's cosmic plan from the outset. Jubilees emphasizes that these births occurred in precise sequence, synchronized with the 364-day solar year, reinforcing the idea that the tribes of Israel were part of a heavenly blueprint. This orderly progression underscores how every aspect of creation, including human lineage, follows a divine timetable, setting the stage for their roles in upholding God's eternal laws. Reuben's transgression, as detailed in Jubilees, was not just a personal failure, but a cosmic breach of divine law. By violating the sanctity of his father's marriage bed, Reuben disrupted the heavenly order inscribed on the heavenly tablets, leading to his disqualification as the firstborn. This sin carried profound spiritual consequences, altering the tribal hierarchy and shifting leadership to Judah and Levi. Jubilees frames this event as a corrective measure by God, ensuring that the covenantal line remained aligned with righteousness. Judah was chosen for royal authority, while Levi was set apart for priestly duties, demonstrating how individual actions can reverberate through Israel's national destiny. Levi's priesthood, according to Jubilees, was not an afterthought, but an eternal mandate established at creation and recorded on the heavenly tablets. The book reveals that Levi was selected to mediate between heaven and earth, offering sacrifices and upholding divine laws long before the Levitical codes were formalized under Moses. As Jubilees states, Levi was set apart for the priesthood forever, to offer sacrifices and to mediate between the people and the Lord, for it was ordained on the heavenly tablets. This cosmic role connects the earthly priesthood to the angelic observance of God's commandments, emphasizing that Levi's duties are part of a perpetual divine order spanning both realms. The 12 tribes of Israel, as portrayed in Jubilees, are entrusted with the solemn duty of guarding God's laws for all generations. Each tribe carries a specific spiritual responsibility, ensuring the preservation of the covenant terms inscribed on the heavenly tablets. They are not merely inheritors of land, but stewards of divine commandments, tasked with maintaining holiness and alignment with God's will. This communal role highlights the cosmic significance of Israel's mission to embody and propagate the eternal laws that govern both humanity and the angelic host, forging a continuous link between heaven and earth. Joseph's betrayal by his brothers, as expanded in Jubilees, is depicted as a sin with far-reaching cosmic repercussions. The act of selling Joseph into slavery was recorded on the heavenly tablets as a grave violation of divine law, triggering a chain of suffering that would culminate in Israel's enslavement in Egypt. Jubilees emphasizes the brothers' guilt and the divine punishment decreed, noting that their descendants would endure bondage until repentance was achieved. This event underscores how personal sin can disrupt God's cosmic order, with the heavenly tablet serving as an eternal witness to the consequences of breaching divine commandments. In the Book of Jubilees, Joseph's ascent from slavery to vizier of Egypt was no mere twist of fate. It was a cosmic event inscribed on the heavenly tablets long before his birth. This ancient text reveals that Joseph's destiny to save Israel from famine was part of a divine blueprint, orchestrated by God to preserve the righteous line. Angels, a sign from creation, shielded Joseph at every turn, from the pit where his brothers cast him to the prison where he interpreted dreams. Their unseen guidance ensured his rise to power, fulfilling prophecies that positioned him as a savior for his family. But this was only the beginning. Joseph's success set the stage for a far greater deliverance, the Exodus, already foretold in the celestial records. Why would such a pivotal role be entrusted to one man, and what does this say about the interconnectedness of human history and divine will? Angelic intervention in Joseph's life was not occasional but continuous, as Jubilees emphasizes that his entire journey was supervised by heavenly beings. These angels, tasked with executing God's will, protected Joseph from harm and steered him toward his destined role in Egypt. The text states, "The Lord sent his angels to guard Joseph on his journey to Egypt, that he might not perish, for his life was precious in the eyes of the Lord, and his path had been written in the heavenly tablets." Jubilees 34-21. This constant oversight underscores a profound truth. Every step, from betrayal to throne, was divinely orchestrated. How might this angelic presence challenge our understanding of free will versus predestination in biblical narratives? On his deathbed, Joseph revealed a prophecy that transcended his own lifetime, assuring his brothers that God would one day liberate their descendants from Egyptian bondage. According to Jubilees, Joseph declared, "I will die, but God will visit you and bring you up out of this land, to the land he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Fear not, for these things have been written and sealed on the heavenly tablets." Jubilees 46-9. This moment highlights the seamless continuity of God's redemptive plan, linking the patriarchal covenants to the future Exodus. Joseph's foresight demonstrates that the enslavement and deliverance were not reactive, but preordained, woven into the fabric of cosmic history. What does this reveal about the prophetic nature of the heavenly tablets? Israel's enslavement in Egypt, as depicted in Jubilees, was far more than a historical tragedy. It was a necessary chapter in a cosmic prophecy designed to magnify God's power. The heavenly tablets recorded this period of oppression not as a punishment, but as a divinely appointed test, intended to purify the Israelites and demonstrate God's supremacy to the nations. The text explains that their suffering was foretold to culminate in a mighty deliverance, ensuring that His name would be glorified. Jubilees 48-1. This perspective reframes centuries of bondage as a purposeful, albeit painful, alignment with God's eternal timeline. How does this alter the traditional view of suffering as merely punitive? The spiritual warfare intensifies in Jubilees, account of the Exodus, where Mastema, the prince of evil spirits, actively hardens Pharaoh's heart to escalate Israel's oppression. This malevolent figure, often equated with Satan, sought to undermine God's plan by inciting greater cruelty against the Israelites. Jubilees records, "The prince of the Mastema stood against them, and he sought to destroy them with hard bondage, and to cause them to forsake their faith in the Lord." Jubilees 48-9. Mastema's involvement transforms the conflict from a political struggle into a cosmic battle, revealing that human tyranny is often fueled by darker, spiritual forces. Why would God permit such evil interference? and what does it teach about the nature of divine testing? The 10 plagues of Egypt in Jubilees' cosmic vision were not merely displays of divine wrath, but targeted assaults on the spiritual powers behind Egypt's idolatry. Each plague systematically dismantled the authority of specific Egyptian deities, from the Nile god Hapi to the sun god Ra, proving their impotence before the God of Israel. Mastema and his evil spirits resisted at every turn, but God's supremacy overwhelmed them, turning their schemes into instruments of judgment. This narrative frames the plagues as a decisive victory in the heavenly war, where false gods were exposed and evil forces were routed. How might this perspective deepen our appreciation of the Exodus as a spiritual milestone? Jubilees insist that the Exodus occurred on a date predetermined since creation, the 14th day of the first month, aligned with the sacred solar calendar. This timing was not arbitrary, but etched into the heavenly tablets as part of God's eternal order, ensuring that the deliverance would coincide with the Passover, a festival meant to commemorate this pivotal event. The text affirms, "It was written on the heavenly tablets that on the 14th day of the first month, at the appointed time, God would bring Israel out of Egypt. For this was the day set apart from the beginning of creation." Jubilees 49:1. Such precision underscores the harmony between historical acts and cosmic rhythms. What implications does this have for observing sacred times today? When Moses received the law on Mount Sinai, Jubilees clarifies that these commandments were not new revelations, but eternal decrees already inscribed on the heavenly tablets. The Mosaic law, therefore, was a restoration of divine principles governing creation, given to humanity through Moses as a mediator. This framing elevates the law from a tribal code to a universal standard, binding for both angels and humans. By presenting Moses as a recipient rather than an originator, Jubilees emphasizes the timelessness of God's ordinances, rooted in the pre-existent cosmic order. How does this challenge the notion that the law was exclusive to the Israelites? Long before Moses, the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were already observing the laws later codified at Sinai according to Jubilees. Abraham kept the Sabbath, offered sacrifices, and followed purity regulations, guided by angels who imparted these commandments from the heavenly tablets. The text states, "Abraham kept the Sabbath, circumcised his sons, and followed the commandments of the Lord that were written on the heavenly tablets, and the law was revealed to him through the angels of God." Jubilees 16:28. This continuity from Adam to the patriarchs reveals that the Mosaic law was a reaffirmation of an ancient, divine covenant. What does this say about the unity of God's plan across generations? Central to Jubilees' portrayal of the Mosaic law is the insistence on the solar calendar as the only valid framework for observing Sabbath and festivals. This 364-day system, divided into perfect seasons and weeks, ensures that sacred days align with God's cosmic rhythms, preventing spiritual disorder. The text warns that deviating to lunar or man-made calendars leads to error, disconnecting humanity from divine favor. By embedding timekeeping into the law, Jubilees presents obedience not as ritualistic, but as a means of harmonizing with the universe's sacred order. Could modern disregard for this calendar be a form of subtle rebellion against God's design? At the heart of the Book of Jubilees lies the concept of the heavenly tablets, a cosmic blueprint inscribed before creation itself. These tablets contain every eternal ordinance, from the laws of Sabbath and festivals to the destinies of nations and individuals. They serve as the divine record, consulted by angels and intended to guide humanity into perfect alignment with God's will. Could it be that these heavenly tablets hold the key to understanding not only the past, but the prophecies of the end times? Their existence reveals a universe governed by preordained decrees, where nothing occurs outside this celestial framework. The laws given to Moses were not new inventions, but eternal principles already observed in the heavenly realm. Jubilees emphasizes that angels themselves keep the Sabbath and celebrate God's festivals, demonstrating that these commandments are universal, binding both celestial and earthly beings. As the text states, the law that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai is eternal and will be observed in heaven and on earth. This unity under divine law raises a profound question. What happens when humanity deviates from this cosmic harmony, and how does obedience restore our connection to the divine order? Israel's entire history, from rebellion and exile to redemption, was meticulously recorded on the heavenly tablets long before it unfolded. Jubilees reveals a prophetic timeline where every event, including periods of suffering and deliverance, follows a divine schedule fixed from the beginning. This preordained plan ensures that despite human failings, God's purpose for Israel will ultimately be fulfilled, leading to a restoration that aligns with the cosmic calendar. How does this certainty of divine timing offer hope, and what does it reveal about the ultimate resolution awaiting in the Messianic kingdom? In the final days, angels will execute God's judgment with precision, separating the righteous from the wicked and binding the forces of evil. Jubilees describes how these celestial beings will gather the chosen and cast Mastema, the prince of evil spirits, into the abyss until his final destruction. This dramatic culmination of spiritual warfare underscores the absolute authority of divine law over chaos. As the text warns, the abyss awaits those who oppose God's order, but for the faithful it marks the dawn of a new era. Will you be among those gathered when the angels descend? After a period of tribulation, Israel will turn back to God with all their heart, initiating a spiritual renewal foretold on the heavenly tablets. This redemption involves not just a return to the Promised Land, but a deep, covenantal restoration, where the people once again walk in holiness. Jubilees portrays this as the fulfillment of ancient promises, linking Israel's future to the eternal laws that govern creation. How does this prophecy reinforce the hope that no matter how far humanity strays, divine grace offers a path back to alignment with God's cosmic plan? The Messianic kingdom in Jubilees marks the end of the current age and the beginning of God's eternal rule, where righteousness prevails and the law is written on every heart. The Messiah will establish a realm of peace, justice, and perfect observance of divine commandments, restoring creation to its intended harmony. This vision resolves all conflicts introduced throughout biblical history, offering a utopian future where spiritual and physical realms unite under God's sovereignty. What would it mean for humanity to live in a world where the law is no longer external but internalized, guiding every action? The final judgment culminates in the lake of fire, where the wicked are destroyed forever, and evil forces like Mastema face eternal defeat. Jubilees portrays this as the ultimate act of divine justice, separating those who rejected God's laws from the righteous who upheld them. This stark outcome emphasizes the eternal consequences of alignment, or misalignment, with the cosmic order. How does this imagery challenge us to consider the weight of our choices in light of the heavenly tablets, eternal decrees? In the established Messianic kingdom, the righteous will rule alongside the Messiah in a state of eternal peace, where the law is fully upheld and creation thrives in divine harmony. This serene existence reflects the culmination of all prophecies and laws, with no more conflict or suffering. Jubilees envisions a world where angelic choirs and human worship merge, celebrating the fulfillment of God's plan. This triumphant vision reinforces the message that adherence to divine law leads to an everlasting, ordered existence. Throughout this exploration, the Book of Jubilees has unveiled hidden truths about creation, the patriarchs, divine laws, and end-times prophecies, all challenging mainstream biblical narratives. Its exclusion from most Christian canons hints at the controversial nature of its cosmic perspective, which insists on a preordained calendar, angelic governance, and laws eternal from creation. By recapping these revelations, we see why Jubilees was deemed too radical, yet its insights offer a deeper understanding of God's divine plan. What other forbidden truths might lie buried in ancient texts, waiting to be uncovered? If this journey into the Book of Jubilees has sparked your curiosity, share this video with others who seek to explore these profound mysteries. Your likes, subscriptions, and comments fuel our community's quest for hidden knowledge. So join the conversation below. What aspect of Jubilees' cosmic vision intrigued you the most? Together, let's continue delving into the depths of divine truth, uncovering the secrets that shape our understanding of eternity. According to the Book of Jubilees, the end times begin with a period of intense tribulation, a divine refining fire meant to purify Israel and test the faithfulness of God's people. This era of suffering is not arbitrary. It is a necessary trial inscribed on the heavenly tablets from the foundation of the world, designed to separate the righteous from the wicked and prepare the chosen for the coming of the Messiah. Jubilees portrays this tribulation as a time of great distress, where nations rise against nations and the faithful endure persecution, yet their steadfastness becomes a testament to their alignment with God's cosmic order. The book emphasizes that this suffering serves a higher purpose, to burn away impurity and fortify the remnant, ensuring they emerge ready to inherit the eternal kingdom. As Jubilees reveals, this period is a crucial step in the divine plan, where current faithfulness directly determines future deliverance, raising the stakes for all who seek to walk in God's ways. As the tribulation reaches its climax, the Book of Jubilees unveils a breathtaking scene: angels descending from heaven to gather the righteous, executing a divine harvest that has been preordained since creation. These celestial beings, who have overseen the cosmos from the beginning, now act as guardians and guides, identifying those who have remained faithful to God's laws and separating them from the influences of evil. Jubilees states, "The Lord will send his angels to gather his chosen, and they shall bind the prince of the evil spirits, casting him into the abyss until the time of judgment." This angelic intervention is not merely a rescue mission. It is the culmination of the cosmic battle between good and evil, showcasing God's unwavering care for the faithful. The imagery of angels shepherding the righteous into safe havens reinforces the theme of divine protection, while the binding of malevolent spirits signals the imminent defeat of darkness, creating a seamless transition to the final confrontation with Mastema. In a dramatic resolution of the spiritual warfare that has spanned biblical history, the Book of Jubilees describes the ultimate defeat of Mastema, the leader of the evil forces who has persistently tested humanity. According to Jubilees, angels appointed by God seize Mastema, binding him in chains and casting him into the abyss, where he will remain imprisoned until the final judgment. This event symbolizes the temporary containment of evil, fulfilling prophecies written on the heavenly tablets and marking a pivotal victory in the cosmic conflict. Jubilees emphasizes that Mastema's downfall is not just a punishment, but a demonstration of divine justice, ensuring that his influence can no longer corrupt the world. The visual of darkness being overpowered by divine light underscores the triumph of righteousness, foreshadowing the eternal peace that will follow in the Messianic kingdom, where all spiritual conflicts introduced earlier in the narrative are decisively resolved. With the forces of evil subdued, the Book of Jubilees unveils the establishment of the Messianic kingdom, a realm where the Messiah rules with perfect justice and peace, and the divine laws are fully internalized by the righteous. This kingdom represents the fulfillment of all promises recorded on the heavenly tablets, a world restored to its original harmony, where creation operates in seamless alignment with God's will. Jubilees portrays the Messiah as the eternal sovereign, reigning alongside those who have upheld the covenant, with the law no longer merely written on stone, but engraved on human hearts. In this utopian era, festivals, Sabbaths, and all divine ordinances are observed without deviation, reflecting the cosmic order set at creation. The imagery of a peaceful world, free from strife, and law scrolls integrated into daily life, reinforces the hope and order that Jubilees has promised throughout its narrative, setting the stage for the final act of judgment. The final judgment, as revealed in the Book of Jubilees, culminates in the eternal punishment of the wicked, who are cast into the lake of fire, symbolizing the absolute end of evil and suffering. This divine decree, preordained on the heavenly tablets, serves as the ultimate expression of God's justice, where those who rejected the laws and covenants face irreversible destruction. Jubilees describes this scene with stark severity. The wicked are consumed by the flames, while the righteous look on, affirmed in their faithfulness. This moment underscores the grave consequences of disregarding divine law, raising the stakes by highlighting that alignment with God's cosmic order is not optional, but essential for eternal destiny. The lake of fire represents the final purification of creation, ensuring that no trace of rebellion remains, and paving the way for an everlasting state of peace under God's rule. In the everlasting kingdom depicted by the Book of Jubilees, eternal peace and divine order reign supreme, marking the culmination of the cosmic story that began with creation. Here, evil and pain are utterly absent, and the continuous observance of God's laws by both angels and humans sustains a harmonious existence. Jubilees emphasizes that this state is not a new development, but the restoration of the original divine intent, where the Sabbath, festivals, and all commandments are joyfully upheld in perpetuity. The visuals of a new creation, unified in worship and free from conflict, provide a satisfying payoff to the journey through Jubilees, hidden truths, reinforcing the message that faithfulness leads to an unbreakable communion with God. This serene conclusion seamlessly leads into the video's final call to action, inviting viewers to reflect on their place within this eternal narrative. What if everything you thought you knew about biblical history was merely the surface level? The Book of Jubilees doesn't just add footnotes to Genesis, it revolutionizes our understanding of divine order. From the very beginning, this text reveals a creation where angels governed time itself, where a perfect solar calendar of 364 days was established as humanity's divine rhythm. It shows us patriarchs like Abraham and Jacob observing laws long before Moses, receiving commandments directly from celestial beings. The heavenly tablets weren't mere metaphor, they were the cosmic blueprint, containing every law, every prophecy, every destined event, from creation to final judgment. This was precisely why early church authorities excluded it. Jubilees challenged their authority by presenting an alternative, cosmic narrative, where divine law wasn't invented at Sinai, but revealed from eternity. Its ongoing relevance lies in this profound truth. We're not just living in history, but participating in a cosmic drama written before time began. Now we turn to you. What revelation struck you as most profound? Was it the understanding that Abraham followed Sabbath laws centuries before Moses? Or perhaps the realization that our modern calendar might be fundamentally misaligned with God's divine timing? Share in the comments which hidden truth resonated most deeply with your spiritual journey. What other ancient mysteries should we uncover together? Your insights don't just add to the conversation. They help build a community of truth seekers determined to look beyond surface-level understanding. Tell us what questions remain burning in your mind after this journey through Jubilees. Think of the friends, family members, or fellow seekers who need to hear these revelations. When you share this video, you're not just passing along information, you're becoming part of a movement to restore hidden truths. Every share creates another ripple in the collective awakening, another mind opened to the cosmic perspective that Jubilees offers. Together, we can piece together the full picture of God's divine plan, uncovering what was meant to be remembered rather than forgotten. Your simple act of sharing could be the key that unlocks someone else's spiritual understanding. Don't let this be the end of our exploration. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into other suppressed texts and biblical mysteries. We're already preparing our next investigation into equally fascinating ancient writings that challenge conventional religious narratives. Your subscription ensures you'll be at the forefront of these discoveries, joining a growing community committed to looking beyond the surface of sacred texts. Thank you for embarking on this extraordinary journey through the Book of Jubilees. May these revelations not just inform your mind, but transform your understanding of the divine order governing our universe. Continue seeking, continue questioning, and never settle for surface-level truths when deeper mysteries await those with courage to look beyond the canonical. Our exploration of ancient texts is far from over. In our next investigation, we'll delve into another excluded writing that claims to reveal even more startling secrets about the early days of creation and the celestial realm. What other forbidden knowledge might be waiting to be rediscovered? Let us know in the comments which ancient texts you'd like us to examine next. Your suggestions will guide our future journeys into the hidden corners of biblical history. Remember, you're not just watching a video. You're joining a community of seekers. Together, we're recovering lost wisdom and rebuilding our understanding of divine truth piece by piece. Your voice, your questions, your insights matter in this collective endeavor. We're not just passive observers of history. We're active participants in the rediscovery of cosmic truths that were meant for all generations. From the moment angels were created to govern time, to the establishment of the solar calendar, through the lives of patriarchs who walked with celestial beings, to the final judgment where all will be restored to divine order, we've traveled the entire cosmic timeline revealed in Jubilees. Where do you see yourself in this grand narrative? How does understanding this cosmic perspective change your view of your place in God's creation? This isn't just ancient history, it's the framework within which we all exist. One final time, like this video if it expanded your understanding. Subscribe to continue this journey with us. Share it with fellow truth seekers, and add your voice to the comments. Your engagement fuels our mission to uncover and share these profound mysteries. Thank you for your time, your curiosity, and your commitment to looking deeper. End screen displays, thumbnails for the Lost Books of Eden, and Secret Gospels the Church hid, along with social media icons at Deep Bible Explorers and website deepbibletruths.com. All elements are clickable links directing viewers to further content and community platforms. From the very dawn of creation, angels have been the unseen architects of cosmic order. Created on the first day, these celestial beings were assigned specific duties by God Himself, some to regulate the movements of the heavens, others to oversee natural phenomena, and many to serve as messengers and guardians of divine law. Throughout the Book of Jubilees, their presence weaves a continuous thread from creation to the final judgment. They taught Adam the first commandments, protected Joseph on his journey to Egypt, and will ultimately separate the righteous from the wicked in the end times. This angelic governance forms the backbone of the cosmic battle between divine order and spiritual chaos, reminding us that every event in biblical history unfolds under their watchful presence. What if the calendar on your wall represents more than just dates? What if it reflects your spiritual alignment with the universe? The Book of Jubilees insists that the 364-day solar calendar isn't merely an ancient system, but the divine template for human existence. While modern society follows irregular lunar calculations, Jubilees warns that this deviation leads to spiritual disorder. The perfect solar year, divided into 4 equal seasons of exactly 91 days, ensures sacred days always fall on their proper dates. Could living by man-made calendars be distancing us from the rhythmic harmony God intended? This isn't just about marking time. It's about whether we're walking in sync with the cosmic clock established at creation. The laws inscribed on the heavenly tablets were never meant to be abstract concepts confined to ancient history. They represent a living blueprint for human flourishing, a guide to integrating cosmic principles into daily existence. Observing the Sabbath becomes more than religious ritual. It's aligning with the rest rhythm embedded in creation itself. Following festival dates according to the solar calendar transforms seasonal celebrations into participation in divine timing. Moral laws regarding purity and worship become practical ways to maintain spiritual harmony. When individuals apply these eternal principles, they're not just following rules. They're joining a cosmic symphony where every action resonates with heavenly order, bringing peace and purpose to ordinary life. Humanity's relentless quest for hidden knowledge reflects a deeper longing to understand the divine mind behind creation. The journey through the Book of Jubilees taps into this fundamental drive, revealing how suppressed texts often contain the very truths that challenge and complete our understanding. From the Dead Sea Scrolls to Gnostic Gospels, history shows that excluded writings frequently preserve perspectives that mainstream traditions overlooked. What other mysteries might lie waiting in forgotten manuscripts? The pursuit of these forbidden truths isn't rebellion. It's the sacred responsibility of every truth seeker to piece together the full mosaic of divine revelation, however fragmented across time and tradition. The exclusion of texts like Jubilees from the biblical canon raises profound questions about authority, power, and divine truth. Early church councils faced difficult decisions. Which writings aligned with emerging Orthodox doctrine, and which threatened it? Texts presenting alternative calendars, expanded angelology, or laws predating Moses often faced rejection not necessarily because they were false, but because they challenged established power structures. When religious authorities decide what believers can and cannot read, what happens to the full picture of God's revelation? The banning of Jubilees represents more than historical censorship. It symbolizes the ongoing tension between institutional control and the human right to access complete spiritual knowledge. The journey through Jubilees ultimately leads to a personal crossroads. What will you do with these revelations? This isn't about blind acceptance, but thoughtful engagement. Study the text yourself, compare its claims with canonical scriptures, discuss its implications with fellow seekers. The video serves as a starting point, not the final word. Your spiritual journey requires active participation, weighing evidence, asking difficult questions, and forming conclusions based on both faith and reason. The most valuable takeaway isn't a set of answers, but a new set of questions that propel you forward in your pursuit of divine truth, wherever that path may lead. Every truth discovered opens doors to greater mysteries waiting to be explored. Let the revelations within Jubilees ignite a lasting curiosity that transcends this single text. Like ancient explorers charting unknown territories, modern truth seekers stand at the frontier of spiritual discovery, where every answered question reveals new horizons. The pursuit of divine knowledge isn't a destination but a lifelong adventure, one that transforms not just what you know, but who you become. May the insights gained here fuel your continued exploration of biblical mysteries, ancient texts, and the profound truths that connect heaven and earth across the ages. To our incredible community of truth seekers, your engagement makes this journey meaningful. Comments like, "This changes how I read Genesis and I never knew about the solar calendar," demonstrate the impact of exploring these forbidden truths together. Your thoughtful questions about angelic roles and the heavenly tablets show the depth of your curiosity. For those just joining us, your perspective is valued. Share what surprised you most or what questions remain. This isn't a one-way conversation, but a collective exploration where every voice contributes to our understanding. Your participation transforms isolated viewing into a community of discovery. Before we conclude, quick reminders to keep this conversation growing. Hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into biblical mysteries. Sharing this video with fellow truth seekers helps build our community and spread these hidden truths to others on similar journeys. Staying connected ensures you're part of ongoing explorations into ancient texts, cosmic perspectives, and the profound mysteries that continue to shape our understanding of faith and history. These simple actions transform passive viewing into active participation in a movement dedicated to uncovering divine truths. Thank you for investing your time and attention in this exploration of the Book of Jubilees. Your engagement, whether through watching, commenting, or sharing, honors the sacred pursuit of truth that transcends generations and traditions. May the insights gained here illuminate your path forward and deepen your appreciation for the vast, mysterious tapestry of divine revelation. As you continue your personal journey of discovery, may you find wisdom in both the questions and the answers, and may your pursuit of truth always lead you closer to the ultimate source of all knowledge and understanding. Creating this deep dive required months of research across ancient manuscripts, scholarly commentaries, and historical sources. The process revealed surprising connections, like how Jubilees' solar calendar aligns with astronomical patterns observed in other ancient cultures. Translating and cross-referencing Ethiopian Orthodox sources with early church writings uncovered layers of meaning often lost in modern translations. Every discovery came with new questions, each answer revealing deeper mysteries. This behind-the-scenes work demonstrates that uncovering forbidden truths demands both scholarly rigor and spiritual sensitivity, a balancing act that continues in our ongoing quest to bring you the most accurate and enlightening content. Our community continues to amaze with their contributions. One viewer created detailed comparisons between Jubilees' timeline and the canonical Genesis narrative. Another shared research into how the solar calendar aligns with agricultural cycles in the ancient Near East. These contributions enrich our collective understanding, and demonstrate the power of collaborative exploration. Whether through comments, research, or creative expressions of these concepts, your engagement transforms this from a channel into a living community of discovery. Your insights don't just respond to content, they expand it, creating a multidimensional conversation that honors the complexity of these ancient truths. In the face of cosmic truths that span from creation to eternity, human understanding must acknowledge its limits. The divine mysteries contained within Jubilees, and indeed all sacred texts, extend beyond complete human comprehension. This isn't a failure of knowledge, but an invitation to wonder. The unfathomable aspects of God's plan remind us that faith and mystery often walk hand in hand. Embracing this tension between knowing and not knowing becomes itself a spiritual practice, one that keeps the mind humble and the heart open to revelations that transcend human categories and limitations. As Jubilees reminds us, the law and the testimony were ordained and written on the heavenly tablets created even before the foundation of the world. This profound truth encapsulates the cosmic perspective that transforms how we understand our place in creation. You're not merely living in time. You're participating in a divine order established before worlds were formed. Let this realization guide your steps forward. Align your life with these eternal rhythms. Continue seeking, questioning, and discovering. The journey toward truth never ends. It only deepens. Go forth with eyes open to the mysteries waiting to be revealed.